It seems to be a fact that some people just want music to be free. To achieve this, then either musicians work for nothing or someone else pays. If you're one of these people, tell us your justification in the comments, but don't expect to win many friends around here. Oh, by the way, come round and clean my house for free. How does that work for you? So, the rest of us, honourable, noble and righteous, don't just pay for music, we recognise that music is worth paying for. How much? Well, that's a different question that I might tackle on a different day. Enough, though, for a reasonably successful musician to earn as much as they could in a different line of work, let's say teaching, plumbing, taxi driving, take your pick. Now, that dratted, perhaps double-dratted, private copying levy. I've made a video on this already that I've linked in the description. Today, I'm going to say why it's inappropriate and why it should be cancelled in those countries that have it. As a reminder, if you're in France and you buy a phone with 64 gigabytes or more of storage, you'll pay a €14 levy that goes to rights holders, plus 20% tax on that goes to the beautiful France. Everything else you can store music or movies on, such as SD cards, has its own rate. You can't escape. The purpose of the private copying levy is to compensate rights holders for copies made of records, CDs, DVDs, etc. So the copies are not paid for, and without the levy, the rights holders would lose out. What's good about this is, or we shall see was, is that rights holders get compensated and people are free to make copies. Not on an industrial scale, of course, but for their own personal use. What's not so good is that a lot of people use their storage for their own stuff. I had a comment on my last video about a church that records their own sermons and services, yet still has to pay the levy because everyone does. Now, one might say that a service may include copyright material, but the levy is shared among all eligible rights holders, and the one individual rights holder of a newly composed hymn will probably get less than they would for an ad-supported stream on Spotify. So, although there is a balance between making it legal for people to make copies for their own use and rights holders getting paid, there is the problem area where some, or many, people don't use their phones or storage for any copyright material. A problem like this is bound to build resentment. Resentment is keen to feed on itself. And soon we get into the territory of those damned money-grabbing musicians. Still, in the past, it seemed to be a solution of sorts. But today, things are different, and there's no justification for this levy. Why? People don't make copies anymore. They stream legitimately or they buy downloads. When's the last time anyone asked you to send them the latest Taylor Swift track as an MP3 in an email? This is why streaming exists, to make it so easy to stream that there's no incentive to make copies. Now, I do need to consider piracy. You could, for instance, put on your pirate's hat, your peg leg and your eye patch and sail the high seas. You'll get your music and movies for free until you get caught. And when you do get caught, your defence might be that you paid the private copying levy for all of your storage devices. So you're okay. I am not a lawyer. Tell me how you think it'll work out for you. This makes things worse. The vast majority of law-abiding citizens are buying their phones, paying the levy, and then not copying any music, TV shows or movies. They're streaming them, paid for. They've paid the levy for no reason. No, not no reason. They've paid the levy to support the activities of pirates. Wouldn't this make any right-thinking person angry? You pay the levy for a service you're never going to use, and you're funding the activities of pirates at the same time. Come on, things have changed since the private copying levy was first thought of. Today, it is not a good way to collect revenue for rights holders. It needs to go. See you soon.